Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Maranatha Teaching Channel. I'm Minister Alfredo, but you can call me Alfredo, so per se. And I'm here with Pastor Femi Fenojo, who is based in Nottingham. And we're just here to have a brief chat in regards of latest events, so per se, that have been taking place, and just to have a conversation and bring some sort of if we can, in our words and with the help of the Holy Spirit, bring some sort of clarity to some few questions that people may have, and so on. First of all, how are you? How are you doing, Pastor? Pastor, how are you doing, Pastor?
I'm good. I'm good. I think it's been a long time since I've been in London with you guys. But I'm good. I mean, as much as we can within the situation in which we all find ourselves. But the Lord has been good to all of us. We give God the praise.
Indeed. Okay. So where can we start from? Let's start from I'd say let's just put out a disclaimer there. We're gonna talk, of course, about the vaccine, COVID-19, how all of that came about, and the disclaimer is that we're not trying in any shape or form trying to tell people whether to take or not take the vaccine. We're just trying to bring some sort of clarity and how can I say some calmness to the situation, because there's been a lot of information online going around about conspiracy theories, about this and that. We're just trying to bring some sort of clarity, of course, in line with the Bible, and hopefully this can help you to make a more informed decision. Okay.
Yes, I think what you said is really, really very important. I think it's okay to call you Alfredo rather than.
Yes. Of course. Alfred,
Yes.
anything.
I mean, really, what you said is really, really very important, because I think the truth is that we are all living. We are in this situation, as it were.
Yes. Yes.
And it's good for us to have this conversation.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is very important for Christians to have this conversation, and because whether we like it or not, we are all passing through this. And the Bible says that my people perish because of lack of knowledge. I mean, I know the application there is to something else, but we all need knowledge. Okay, and I think also because there are so many misinformation and disinformation out there. I mean, we are not going to, just like you rightly said, the purpose here is not to, to say take this or don't take that. It's just to have that discussion. Okay, and there will be things that will probably say that some people will not agree with. We're just having a discussion, and hopefully, if this will help other people to also have more discussion, I think that will have achieved its purpose.
Okay. Yes. So to start, so basically to go straight into it, as that's what they say. The vaccine is now out, okay, and I believe either yesterday or 2 days ago, there was a lady that was the first person that was given, that had received the vaccine. So I believe the current mood, or so per se, the current question that is arising among people is, I'm not sure if I will take the vaccine. Is the vaccine safe? It's taking too little time to come up with a vaccine. So what are your views on that? And I may add something as well, but just to start, let's start from that, so to say.
Yeah, and thanks for that. I mean, just like you said, the vaccine is out. I mean, obviously, there have been people that have been recruited in the testing of the vaccine over a period of time. So some people have been having this vaccine for some time anyway.
Right.
But officially, the vaccine is out and people are beginning to receive the vaccine. And just like you rightly said, there are so many conspiracy theory about, what is going on with respect to the vaccine. And you raise an important issue also, the time that it has taken for the vaccine to come out. And obviously, tied to that also is some Christians worry about the fact that, the whole thing about digital certificate. And these are some of the things that people talk about. And the way I approach this type of thing is to separate the fact from the myth.
Yeah.
Okay. And also, I've listened to a few number of these conversations, and one of the things that I see is that there is a big elephant in the room, oftentimes that people don't talk about. But let's talk about the fact first. Let's go back to the virus itself, the coronavirus.
The coronavirus, yeah. COVID-19.
I mean, there were some people that were talking about the fact that the coronavirus is actually not real. Coronavirus is real, okay?
Yes, it is.
It's real, and it kills people, all right? Now, there has been a lot of misinformation around it. I'll come to that in a second. So the first thing is that coronavirus is real. It's a virus, and it does cause damage, okay? So that's the first thing that we need to settle that, because if the coronavirus is not real, then why do we need a vaccine in the first place? So that's the first thing I would want to say. Number two, vaccination is good. All right. All right. Okay. We're talking about vaccination generally. All of us have been given our children the childhood vaccination. Okay. So, and almost all of us have had a vaccination in one way or the other. So I always try to lay the foundation. So coronavirus is real. Vaccination is good. And that's the second thing I want people to realize. The third thing is, which relates to the first thing, is that the coronavirus is not made by a human being. Now, we can talk about the fact that nations around the world are tampering with all sorts of viruses and genetically modifying them to do whatever they want to do with it. Yeah, that's possible. Okay, and whether somebody releases or somebody doesn't release it, that's not what concerns us today. What we are saying is that the virus is real.
Yes.
Vaccines are good. The third point is, like people rightly note, that it takes years and years and years for people to produce vaccine.
Yes.
Okay. And again, we are not going to go into the medical aspect of it. It does take years and years for people to produce vaccine. So the question is, why has it taken such a short time for vaccine to be produced now? The truth is that actually producing the vaccine very quickly is not an issue. It's just that they have used different technology to produce this vaccine. So that they have vaccine within a short time is actually not a problem if you understand that they didn't produce this vaccine the same way they used to produce other vaccine. Okay. So what they have used this time is almost akin to what has been happening in computer technology. And this technology, they didn't just develop it now. This is a technology they've been working on for years.
Yes.
Okay. So they are using almost like what you call a nanotechnology. So they are using a different technology to actually produce this type of vaccine. Okay. So people need to understand that, and that technology has been in use. They've been producing this type of vaccine. It's just that they've never been licensed to be used. Okay, so there are, at the moment, there are 3 different companies that are in fact, the one that we are being given now is the Pfizer one, and there's the, in fact, let me so that I will get you the names. Okay, so the one we are given at the moment is what they call the Pfizer BioNTech vaccine. There's another one called the Moderna vaccine. Now, these are what they call messenger RNA. We don't need to go into all the detail of that. It's just that it's a new technology. Rather than you growing up vaccine in animal cell over and over and over again, they are now using, computer engineering. They are now using genetic engineering to produce these things. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, there's one that is so those two are actually a messenger RNA vaccine. And now there's one that is in the offering called the AstraZeneca Oxford vaccine, which is a DNA coronavirus vaccine. Essentially, what I'm saying is that these are new technology that allow them to be able to produce this vaccine very quickly. Okay, so that's a fact. That is not a big problem. All right. I think the big problem for me, the elephant in the room is that we've come to a point where we can no longer, or where people believe that they can no longer trust what our leaders tell us.
Exactly, yes.
And I think this is the problem, that we've gone through, using this COVID-19 as an example, that we've gone through months and months and months of lies, disinformation, incompetency, fraudulent utterances by our leaders. We've come to a point now where people can actually, they find it difficult now to trust what our leaders say. Because, I mean, look at it. When this coronavirus came out, okay, what, international body like the World Health Organization, leaders of nations, the information they gave us at the first thing, their reaction to it, their utterances, but some of them said things then that they contradict themselves later. Don't misunderstand me. It was difficult for everybody because this was what they call a novel virus. Okay, it's like we didn't see it coming. Fair enough. Maybe in early stages we could excuse the lack of information, that everybody is trying to marshal, their resources together to get things going.
Yes.
But as things move on, there are some things that become unforgivable. You know what they said about the virus, what the virus is, how it was released, how it was transmitted. I mean, a lot of I'm not going to go into this, were unforgivable. What they talked about, the test, I mean, and I'm going to talk about that because I think this is very, very important, because we're still doing that test up till today. The test we are using to diagnose coronavirus today, experts and specialists in that area kept saying over and over and over and over again that this is not a good test to detect people that have coronavirus. Now, I'll give you an example now. In medical journals, there's something in UK, there's something we call the Cochrane Review. And these are the ones that pull out, researches and give us kind of like, what will I call it now? A summary that, okay, these are the results from all these tests that I'm trying to put it in layman language. This is what they said, because now data are coming through. And they said the data supporting the existing antibody tests are so vague that it is impossible to know how accurate the tests are, especially for people with mild or no symptoms or after the symptoms are gone. There are so many specialists in this area that said that the test we are using to diagnose people that have coronavirus is so flawed, is so wrong. What I'm saying is that I think the issue that people are having with the vaccine is not primarily the vaccine itself, is that trust has been destroyed. Okay? And one of the things I saw, and this same thing happened during the American election, we are not going to go into that, is that specialist voices that are saying, are giving us a different or an alternative. And I'm not talking about people with conspiracy theory. I'm talking about specialists. I'm talking about professionals in their own area. I'm talking about biologists, virologists. I'm talking about, public health people, in their own area were saying, and their voice was suppressed by the mainstream media. Their voice was suppressed by the social media. And up till today, I mean, there was this weird thing that was going on about the treatment of people that are very ill with coronavirus with respect to using chloroquine. I mean, these are things that are tested. And then some portion of government came out and rubbish it. The way that people that raised concern, the way they were harassed, the way they were, these are the things that make people to say, can we actually trust what the government is now telling us? And this is the problem. And I believe that this is the problem that people are facing now. So let's come to the vaccine, because that is what we are talking about. Okay, so the vaccine is out, or beginning to be out now. They started rolling it out. And they are and this is the problem, that when you don't tell people truth, when they are dishonest with people, other people will come in and fill in the gap. And this is why the conspiracy theorist people come in. And this is the problem.
Exactly.
So the vaccine is out. There's something okay, the government need to tell us and say, look, we have fast track and this thing happens. Okay. I mean, we can question, there's still a question, and I'm going to come to that. There's still a question as to how effective is the vaccine, and
That's
what
the
exactly
yeah.
is the vaccine going to do? Okay, because
Especially
the
with
truth,
the after effects of the vaccine as
yes,
well.
and those are some of the things. Because the truth is that even the virus itself, number one, obviously, if somebody have an infection, the body will develop immunity against it. We don't even know how long the immunity will last. Okay,
Yes.
now let's say they've produced this vaccine, and what I'm saying is that even if what the government is telling us now is true, if you've been lying to people for so long, a time will come when they will say, we are not sure whether you are saying the truth. But this another thing. Now, this vaccine has been done quickly, and I've told us why that was the case. But we need to
Yeah.
recognize that we have not been given this type of vaccine before.
It's
Number
true. Yes.
two, that all the evidences that we have at the moment are just short-time evidences.
Yes.
Nobody knows what the long-term effect of this vaccine is going to be. Now, this is the type of information the government needs to put out in public domain. To say, listen.
Yeah, we should give some sort of assurance. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, they need to be saying, listen, this is what we know. Honestly, this is what we know. All we have is a short-term evidence.
Period.
The data we have at the moment is what this thing will do on a short term.
Yeah.
But on a long term, we don't know. But because of this, because of the type of vaccination we've given it, in fact, we can project. They can say things like that. Or they can say, look, and we do this all the time in medicine. We do what we call risk benefit.
Yeah.
Look, there are times people do things because the alternative is graver. For example, okay, I mean, sorry to have to use this type of example. When the World Trade Center was attacked, okay, there were people that were jumping out of the window.
Yeah.
Now, jumping out of a window is risky, but it is more risky to stay
inside
in the
building.
And that is what we all do all the time, okay? And we can say, look, for maybe there are some people that are at a very high risk of being, or dying from COVID. You can look at what is their risk and what is the benefit.
Level,
and then you can say, because of this, I mean, these are the way we all make decisions, okay?
Yes.
And I think
that information.
Absolutely. And I think the injustice the government all over the world have done is that they have not allowed conversation. Number two, they have not given people honest information and to say this is where we are. Because the truth is, number one, they've done all these tests, fine. Number one, the truth is, in fact, let me read that out to you with respect. And by the way, what I'm reading now, these are from specialists. These are from professionals in the area. The question they are asking is that we are not sure whether this vaccine will prevent transmission and asymptomatic spreading. We don't know. Number two, we don't know how long the immunity will last. We don't know. Okay. Number three, we don't know. We don't have any evidence. We don't have any data of its long-term safety
that we can work on. Yes.
We don't know. Okay. And the government needs to put this out in public domain. Let people discuss it so that people will have the choice to make informed decisions as to what they want to take and whether they want to take it. And I believe that this is the main problem. Now we are going to go into other issues, other concerns that people have raised with respect to the vaccine. But let me take a break there.
Yeah, what you couldn't have put it any better, because even with basic let's say when someone, you're a doctor, so you will know before someone goes for surgery or an operation, they want certain information on how this is gonna work,
absolutely,
how is it going to go, and that gives them some sort of peace and understanding on how things go. For example, my wife had an operation and knee, and before we did such thing, we wanted to receive relevant data, information, recovery process, and how it works. And that gave us the how can I say, enough information to make a more informed decision. And that's the general fear out there, I'd say, is that people feel like they don't have enough information. Yeah, they're saying the vaccine is 94% good rate, but it's not enough. Okay, how long would it last? many other things which you have surely pointed out, and government not being too clear in regards is an issue. It is an issue, and it's something that they should consider to put out information out there, make it public, so that people can say, okay, the government has put out information, I can make a more informed decision, and it will bring some sort of peace as well online, because as you said, there's that if you don't give people information, then the conspiracy theorists will come in and release things like that. But if you make the information available for everyone to see, everybody will be like, okay, then this is what it is. I'm going to take it. I'm not going to take it. But at least the information is there for people to know. And I think one of the things that you mentioned before as well is that doctors and people, specialists had done research and were asking questions. So which then this sort of leads me onto the next point. From a Christianity perspective, some people believe that this may be the mark of the beast, or that this is a scheme of the enemy to get everyone microchipped, everyone be controlled. It's all a big scam. If you don't get a chip, you will not be able to buy or sell. That would be my next question. And how can we, let's say, bring some sort of clarity on that aspect as well?
Right. Thanks. And I think that is really a huge one. Before we come to the Christian bit of it, I mean, this is happening real at the moment. For example, I was reading something that is being discussed in Israel at the moment. There's a move to force everybody to take the vaccine. Okay. Now, the government of the world knows that in the climate in which we live now, it's probably going to be difficult for you to force people to take a vaccine. But there's a move to go behind the door. And this is the thing that people are not happy with. And these are the type of policy that make people suspect that what are you trying to do? For example, some of the information that is coming out of Israel, I mean, it's not that they've adopted it now, but it's some of the things that some of their leaders are saying, that we are not going to force you. But if other people will force you, for example, if somebody say you cannot you cannot attend a theater without showing that you have taken the vaccine. You cannot travel on an airline. An airline can say...
It's happening, apparently.
Exactly. An airline can say you can't travel on this plane unless you take the vaccine. What if somebody say you cannot bring your children to school unless you take the vaccine? Now, this is the thing that is worrying people. Now, the truth is that we have vaccine we give to children. At no time has anybody say you can't bring your child to school because they've not taken their childhood vaccination.
True.
The medical people encourages the parent to give vaccine to their children. We tell them the benefit and we tell them the risk, and we leave it for them to decide. But nobody so far has been forced or has been disadvantaged or has been ostracized because they've not taken. Even the seasonal flu is still something that people decide whether they want to take it or not. So, and this is why people start raising questions. Why are you now making it mandatory that if people don't take this, they are going to become a second-class citizen? And this is the problem. Okay, so talking about the mark of the beast, again, this is some of the conspiratory aspect of this thing. Okay, now obviously in this type of discussion, the name of Bill Gates always finds its way
somehow.
Okay, fact. Let's talk about fact. Okay, the fact is that people, nations and international bodies and private bodies are always doing different type of researches. Okay, fact is that they've definitely discussed the fact that they can put trackers into immunization. Okay, for various good reasons. Don't misunderstand me. For example, before I used to live in Nigeria before I came here. Okay, we didn't have the infrastructure. We didn't have the type of infrastructure and computers, strength that you have here to be able to track things. So they mooted this idea that, look, if you can put a tracker in the vaccine, okay, in third world country where, it's difficult to keep record. So it's not, people are not carrying record anywhere. Once they've taken the immunization, and this has nothing to do with coronavirus. This is something they've been mooting, that if we do that, we can easily track who have taken the virus and who has not taken the virus, okay? And when coronavirus come up, that has also been muted, that has also been discussed. But the truth is that at the moment, okay, some of the things that people have mentioned are not actually true, okay? The coronavirus does not have a tracker, does not have a chip inside it. Now, don't misunderstand me. We have the technology to do it. Okay, the world, because there's the nanotechnology now to do it. Okay, this tracker can be put inside the vaccine. Okay, but it is not being done at this moment. Okay, there is nothing. I've looked into it. There's nothing that is being done in that sense. Now, there was one report that people have misunderstood. Okay, now they were going to put chip in the if you buy any food material, it has barcode on it. Okay, and there was a plan to actually put rather than a barcode, to put a chip on the vial, not inside the vaccine itself. Okay, and even that has not been licensed, even that has not been accepted yet. And the whole idea for that is that so that they can be able to track where the vaccine has gone, who I mean, it will be easier. Just like when you go to Asda or Tesco of this world, they scan the barcode, and that is the way we actually get the prices and things like that. It just make for monitoring easier. But there's another thing, talking about the mark of the beast. There cannot be a mark of the beast if there's no beast. Okay, if the Antichrist has not been revealed, then you cannot have the mark of the Antichrist. Okay, I mean, it's just as simple as that. Okay, you have to have the Antichrist first before you have the mark of the Antichrist. And the Bible tells us that it will be his name or the number of his name. The Bible was very specific, and the Bible was also specific as to where that mark will be put. It's not going to be put into your blood system, okay, on the head or the hand.
On the hand, yes.
Okay, so whatever this is not the mark of the beast. Okay, now the point is this, though. All this technology is going to be used by the Antichrist. Now, this is where people need to separate between the fact and the fiction.
Yes.
Okay? Yes, the technology are there, okay, and the technology are being developed, and sooner or later, when the Antichrist appear, they will use it, because this is what they call nanotechnology. Technology are there, and there are some people that are already receiving, or they are how will I put it? They are doing all those researches now. It is there.
Yeah.
So, with respect to the vaccine, the worry is not whether you are going to get the mark of the beast from it. Now, there's another thing that people bring up, okay, which is what they want to use to track people, is a matter of digital certificate, they call it. Okay. Now, which is why people are unhappy. Now, I tell people, look, if you have a bank account, if you have a phone, if you carry a bank card, you already have digital certificate.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, because they can track you. Your phone can track you. Okay, that's everybody carry a digital certificate. That's the world in which we live, and the immunization we give people now at the moment. Actually, you have a digital certificate that you've taken. For example, if you apply for a job and they say, Alfredo, we want to know how many of your childhood immunization you have taken before.
Yeah,
that certificate will be with your GP. So you just go to your GP, and your GP look through your notes, and they give you a report to say, yes, you've had this, you've had that, you have that. But what they want to do now is for you to carry that certificate in your hand. Okay. And what they are proposing at the moment is either for you to have a bank card, okay, or to have an app in your phone that you can show somebody. I mean, just like if you buy a ticket to a concert, something that you can chill. And that's what they are proposing. Yes, the extreme cases are those cases that want that certificate to be in your blood,
on
so
the
that
body,
they just scan it, and then it shows that you've taken the immunization. That is what that is all about. It is not the mark of the Antichrist. Now, if somebody doesn't want to take it because of that, that is fine. But at least we need to understand what it is and what it is not. Yes, I don't like what they want to use it for. The fact that you are going to disadvantage some people because either for personal reason or for religious reason or for moral reason, they don't want the vaccine. And then you are going to disadvantage them by saying, if you don't show the certificate that you've done it, then you cannot enter here, then you cannot come here, then you cannot be part of this club. Now that is wrong, because that is taking people's, how will I put it, their privacy, their right to make decisions. That is taking it away from them. And when you go, and that is what we've seen, unfortunately, throughout this period of COVID-19, when our government and our leaders are taking away, are chipping away at people's right to make their own decision. And that is what is a real threat. Praise the Lord.
Hallelujah. Yeah, I couldn't have agreed more with everything that you said. And it's a thing where, especially within as you said at the beginning, my people perish for the lack of knowledge. If we need to educate ourselves and make sure that we get the correct information. Simply because if you don't get the correct information, and then person A goes to speak with person B, and person B themselves haven't really got the wrong information, then person B will tell person C, and so on. So then in that case, you even created your own conspiracy theories. And that is because you're not educating yourself with the correct information in the first place. And I agree as well from the point of view that what you've said in regards of the digitalization of everything is brought some clarity, especially to myself, because I wasn't really too sure about how they're going to do this, what do they mean, and things like that. And so that's brought really some clarity to myself, and thank you very much for that. And in regards of the mark of the beast, yes, there can't be any mark if there's no beast. No, my people, there can't be any mark if there's no beast. So I'd say let's be careful and vigilant in the information out there, because that's one of the devices of the enemy as well, bring confusion around, so that when there's confusion, that's where fear arises, and that's where you get, you start jumping out of buildings and things like that, as an example.
I mean, I think the truth is that there are still serious questions that needs to be answered with respect to the vaccine. Not the type of conversation that people are having or that people are allowed to have. I mean, I think definitely top of the list is that we don't know what is going to be the long-term side effects of this vaccine. Yes, we could say that, extrapolating from our experiences. Yes, we could say that, but the truth is that nobody knows. Okay, and the other thing is that we could actually make a case for such a vaccine to be given, even with what we know. We could say, look, the benefit for those people that are at the very highest risk of dying from this vaccine. Yes, you could make a case that such people actually, you could probably make a case that the benefit to them far outweigh the risk. Okay, but the truth is that nobody knows. Nobody knows. And also the other big issue is we don't even know how effective these things are going to be. But that's life. Okay, there are so many things in life. I mean, when we're going into marriage, we don't know. We don't know what is going to happen 1 year, 2 years down, but we need enough information now to be able to take the next step. And I believe that is what, if the government can make things clearer, it will prevent people from getting their own information from the wrong source. Unfortunately, and I'm going to repeat that, unfortunately, our leaders, they have been incompetent. In many cases, they've lied. In many cases, they've suppressed, conversation. They've not allowed the conversation to take place. And that is why it has been very difficult
for people
to believe them.
Yeah.
And this
And
is the
just
problem.
and just to add on to that is I just for an example, is like when you have a common, say, cold or flu, you go to the doctor and the doctor prescribes you medication. The doctor will always tell you what is it for,
Yeah.
how is it going to work. He's going to ask you, do you have any allergies?
Mm-hmm.
And when you get the medication itself as well, at the back, some of these medicines do say that it's not guaranteed they will work.
Yeah.
You might get this allergic reaction. If you get them, go and see your doctor, and but however, we do maybe go ahead and take it anyway because we are conscious of the information of what this can or cannot do. So I agree with you in terms of the vaccine. It's such a big pandemic, and it's been almost a year now since March, February, this or however long this thing has been around. And information is what will give people peace and a bit more of understanding on how to make the most informed decision.
I think one of the things that people are tired of sometimes is how the government of all over the world and international bodies have worked up the hysteria of the effect of coronavirus. And people get tired of it. And unfortunately, we live in a world now where information travels very, very fast. Okay, I'm saying it again. The lies and the misinformation are unforgivable. Okay, and people just don't know whether they can trust government experts, our leaders again. One more thing that I've not mentioned with respect to, and I kept saying, for me, I'm not worried about the coronavirus being, mark of the beast, or the vaccine.
Yeah.
I'm more worried about the long-term effect.
Yeah.
One thing I've not mentioned is that, at least I know in UK and I think also in America, the pharmaceutical company, they've been granted immunity by the government from being sued by patients in event of any complication.
I also read about that.
And you see, there's a sense in which you can say, you know what, that is understandable. There's a sense in which you can say that, because look, if the government and the pharmaceutical company are working hand in hand and they are saying, look, we are pushing this out, under normal circumstances, we will not be doing these things this fast.
Yeah.
But we are pushing it out. We know that there is risk. We are taking a risk there. And the government is saying, yes, we're in this together, we'll cover you. You can come and tell people that people will understand. The truth is that for the government to grant the pharmaceutical company immunity of being sued in the future, that means they have at the back of their mind the possibility that something may go wrong on the long run.
Yeah.
And when you put this against the track record of some of the pharmaceutical companies that have been reckless in the past,
yes,
with respect to hiding information and hiding fact, all for the sake of making profit. Now, this is what gets people to be worried.
Yes,
okay,
100%.
That and this is what our bankers did, and they wreck our economy. Everything now is now being blamed on coronavirus. The truth is that our economy was already dying. Was already in critical state before COVID-19 came in. And this is what happened with the bankers. They can be reckless because they know that even when they wreck everybody, the government will bail them out. Because they are too big to fail. And when you give the pharmaceutical company this blank check, that can cause them not to be. You see, the fact that we are responsible for the effect, the fact that we are responsible we are held responsible for what for our action actually makes us to be very, very careful.
I agree.
Okay, about what we do. And when government give them a blank, like I said, there's a sense in which you can understand that can be necessary, but there's a sense also you can understand that can make them to be reckless. Also, there's a sense in which that then shows us that everybody knows that we don't know what the long-term effect of this thing is going to be like. And I wish that the government had been honest. I wish the government had been upfront about this whole thing. And then the people are reasonable. People are reasonable. People are reasonable, and people can understand that this is where we are, and this is why we are taking the decision that we take. But when you have a government that have lied and lied and lied about the issue, and then you have a pharmaceutical company that don't have a very good record anyway of being totally honest sometimes when things go wrong. And this is why what makes people feel a little bit reluctant. But I'm going to end, I hope we are ending. I'm going to round this section up by saying that, look, vaccine, we must not just throw the baby out with the bad water. That's my point.
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
Vaccine does work. Okay, our vaccine does help. Yes, there's a lot of question mark of this current world, but don't let us throw everything out. Okay, and I'm hoping that this conversation we've had will help people. And by the way, people still need to make their own decision. And like the disclaimer we gave in the past, this is our own discussion.
Conversation.
Okay? This is our own discussion. People need to go back and do their own research. Okay, stay away from the conspiracy theories. Stay away from it. Okay, and I believe that hopefully we have provided, even if it's just a little information that people can take back and then do their own research and then take it off from there. Praise the Lord.
I agree. Thank you very much for your time, Pastor Fenojo. This was very insightful. It was informative, and as you rightly so said, I do hope that as you're watching, you receive a bit more of information and peace in regards of the current situation regarding the vaccine, COVID-19, if it's the mark of the beast or not. The aim of this conversation, as Pastor Fenojo said, was to bring our point of view, but also to bring some sort of clarity to the situation. As we said at the beginning, we're not in whatsoever shape or form telling people don't go take the vaccine, take the vaccine. We're just trying to urge the government to give a bit more of information and a bit more of clarity to the situation so that people can make a more informed decision in regards of the vaccine. I believe that's all from us. I don't know if Pastor Fenojo has
yes, and thank you so much for being part of this discussion.